Hi guys, so today we're going to be looking at some pre-ride checks for the Shimano e-mountain bike system, which will equip you with all the knowledge you need for the step system before you hit the trail. Now, I cannot think of a better person to discuss this subject than Pete from Shimano Madison UK. Pete, thanks for coming along to the woods.
It's all right, Steve.
Now, look, we've all done it, whether it be on a camera or a phone or a Hoover, whatever. What is the number one when it comes to pre-ride checks on an e-mountain bike?
Well, something you won't have ever had if you have had a bike before is the battery that is used to assist us.
It's so easy, it's so simple, right?
And the first thing we need to do is make sure that battery is fully charged before you use it for the first time.
So we're not talking 70 or 80 or 90, we're talking 100%,
no,
right?
We need to make sure that we've plugged it into the charger and left it on the charger till it reaches full capacity before we use it the first time.
Great. Now, I'm just thinking, are there things people should think about actually before even coming to the trail centre or the car park? Are there things you need to do before you leave the house with your e-mountain bike?
Well, it is quite a simple system to use, but we provide all the technical information and guidance through a couple of online resources that are free to anyone to access. Yeah. One is the Steps website, of course, but it will also then direct you back to the service instructions, which are at si.shimano.com.
Now, I'm thinking here, Pete's actually going to mention in a second, user manual. Now that actually scares the living daylights out of me, but there is a simple user manual for the Steps motor, right?
Yeah, with the same way that we have lots of other electronic products that we use these days, we've made a quick start guide for it to simplify it a bit.
How quick is it?
It's two pages, and it just walks you through some of the features of the system. So, for example, we've asked you to charge the battery. Yeah. There's a couple of different types of battery depending on the bike that you've bought, yeah. And there's a couple of different charging, ways that can be connected to a charger. Yeah. So it just walks you through how to do that, makes life simple for you. It's pictures rather than lots of words.
I like the idea of that. What I meant to ask you was, what are the most important considerations when installing or removing your e-bike battery?
Well, first of all, before you lose your one and only key,
yeah, that is my only one.
It's worth making a note of the number that's on the key blade. This one in this instance is made by Abus, so we don't make these, few manufacturers make them for this system. But if you make a note of that number before you lose your key, you can get a new one cut if you need to.
Perfect.
Okay. It's also worth making sure that the key is easy to go into the lock barrel. So when you...
Would you suggest lubing that then?
Well, we don't make any recommendations specifically to lubricate it, yeah. But it is something that you do need to keep an eye on, making sure it is functioning correctly. Yeah. The other important thing is that the battery terminal on the battery itself, yeah. Or on the bike, is clean and free from debris. Right. We don't want anything in there that's getting trapped and causing us a problem.
Simple.
Very simple.
So you have arrived at the trails with your new and fully charged e-mountain bike. First step, Pete, is simple: to turn it on. It can be difficult.
Well, it's not difficult. It's worth familiarising yourself again where the button to turn it on is. Yeah. Depends what type of battery you've got. On this external battery, we've got a button on the top here. And if I press and hold that for 3 seconds, the screen will come on and you'll hear an audible beep. Yeah. Now, if you just press it for a short sort of press, it won't necessarily come on straight away.
It's worth pointing out, Pete, there are actually external batteries as well, but where's the on switch located for that?
It's going to be on the down tube, but often possibly in part of a cover or part of the frame. So it's worth finding where that is, familiarising yourself with how it works before you get going. So
we've had the beep and the display has come on, but it actually says off on that display there.
Well, it's again really helpful to familiarise yourself with the functions of the display before you actually set out riding. So the quick start guide we talked about earlier gives you a quick overview of how it displays the information. And at the moment, the reason it says off up here, although the system is on, is it hasn't actually got the assistance mode engaged at the moment. So the bike will function like a normal mountain bike.
Hard work.
Yeah, but not providing you any assistance at the moment.
Right, let's get some assistance going on this Shimano system, Pete. Now, Pete, I've got a particular switch on my e-bike here. Now, there's quite a few different variations of the Shimano switch, right?
Yeah, we produce a few different models now.
But they all do the same thing?
They all have a similar function, yeah. But again, if you go to the quick start guide, it talks you through it. Yeah.
So what do you need to know about your display before you go on your ride then?
So if we press the up arrow on this switch, we'll see it will beep again and it'll now show eco in the bottom there. That means that we've now got the lowest level of assistance enabled. So if we set off on our bike now, it will assist us straight away.
Perfect starting point, right?
Perfect starting point. Yeah.
Hey Pete, I switched it on, but it's come up with this, it's not working. Come up with this exclamation mark W013.
Well, again, a little point that's just missed occasionally is that the bike needs to start up without you on it and riding it.
You can actually sit on the bike and turn it on, but you're telling me that it's best to turn it off when you're off the bike, right?
Yeah, if you turn it on now with it powered up correctly, it won't produce the same warning. So all we've done is turn it off and on again to reset that warning.
So there you go, on and off, and you'll be good to go, right?
Yeah.
There you go. It's on off, stick it in eco. I think it's time to hit the trail, isn't it?
Well, I reckon, yeah.
Well, I think eco is a really good start to get up to the trails, Pete. And here we are at the head of the trail system. Easy, medium or hard?
So it's funny you should say that, Steve, because at the moment we are in eco, which is the lowest assistance level, which we've ridden up from the car park in. If we use the same switch on the left-hand side that we've already used to come into eco, we can go further up through the modes into trail and then into boost. So it falls in line with sort of the difficulty of the trail. And the best thing we can do is if you pick a bit of trail you may be familiar with and just test those modes out and see how the bike reacts in each one.
Yeah, I'm familiar. Let's go. Well, you can certainly crack on in boost mode, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of fun, but if you're trying to go out for a whole day's ride and get the most range out of your battery, you need to be using either trail or eco mode predominantly.
So you're getting a big old day out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I tell you what, I feel $1 million in boost.
Yeah, but riding your e-bike's a bit like riding your old mountain bike as well. Sometimes you want to do a bit of fitness and get a bit of a workout. So if you use a lower mode like trail or eco, you're going to put more effort in. And it'll be a bit harder, but you get a better workout.
I see what you mean. Okay, my next question, Pete, is how do you actually get the maximum performance out of your Shimano Steps system?
Well, it's important to remember, Steve, that it is a lot like your normal push bike in the fact that you need to keep turning the pedals. And it's important to get the best efficiency by spinning the pedals at a sensible cadence.
Right, how do you know you're doing the right cadence?
Well, on the screen, it will actually display your cadence as one of the options of the information that you can display.
Right, show me how to do that. Okay, that's all very well and good, but I need to know exactly how fast I'm spinning the pedals, or cadence as you term it.
Well, it's one of the functions that the screen to display for us, because the bike's registering how quickly you are spinning the pedals.
At the minute, I got 0 kilometers an hour here.
Well, that's your current speed at the moment. But using the function button on the bottom of the screen, you can cycle through the other information that it's displaying.
Right, I'm going to press that now. So I've gone from speed, now it goes to distance, I take it, DST.
Yep, so you've got trip distance that you've got registered on there at the moment.
Okay, then to auto.
Which is the overall distance the bike's travelled.
Okay, to range, which, what does that mean?
Well, the range is in the mode that you're in at the moment, in trail.
Yeah.
That range is 47 kilometres anticipated left on that battery.
Oh, wow, right. And then I'm moving on now to average, that's average speed, I take it. And then, oh, cadence, there you go, cadence.
So you can spin along and that number will go, up and down as you spin the pedals. You're looking at between 80 and 100 RPM as being
that's the optimum
good
cadence
guide.
you're spinning at. Right, okay, that's brilliant. How do I keep the cadence? How do I keep spinning in the right rate? I've just noticed that I've got different shifters to you. I've got like manual ones, where you got some fancy electronic stuff going on here.
Yeah, so on my system, I've got a Di2 shifter and mech that is integrated into the rest of the system.
Right.
What's really useful there is not only will it show you my cadence, but it also gives you my gear position. So it actually tells you what gear I'm in as well, which is very, very helpful.
Yeah. But ultimately, you need to still be using those up and down to keep the bike moving in the right speed.
Yeah, by changing gear, it will change how the rate you're spinning the cranks around at and keep that cadence number in the right range.
But what you're saying is Di2, that's a nice handy upgrade, right? Pete, let's quickly go through that short list, that pre-ride checklist that you need to cover.
Well, you need to make sure you're happy with how the bike's charged and how the charger works. You need to make sure you know how the battery goes on and off the bike and how your key's operating. You also need to make sure that you're happy with how it turns on and off.
Exactly.
Very important.
Yeah. Out on the trail, I think you covered some amazing things there. I think the great one for me was how to use the display to measure your cadence, because cadence is really important to get the most out of your battery on your e-bike. And of course, the power assist modes, you've got eco, trail and boost. Make sure you get used to what each of those does.
Well, all of the switches on the system can easily cycle you through those displays, and the screen, it's worth knowing what you're actually looking at when you're looking at the different modes on the screen.
Yeah. Also, Pete, you also mentioned third-party devices which you can attach to your e-bike as well, right?
Yeah, it's possible via Bluetooth or an ANT Plus connection to attach other screens and display the information via, say, a Garmin.
Yeah.
You can attach that. If you're running one already, you can. Certain models will be able to connect to the system.
Yeah. And at which point you can move off your double track fire road onto something a bit more adventurous, such as this trail in the background. If you want to know more about Shimano systems, check out this Shimano E7000 video, which I did just down here. Pete, thanks for joining us and going through all those points. Let us know your comments on Shimano Steps system. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and don't forget you can subscribe to EMBN at the globe in the middle of the screen.